Good evening and welcome to the Chris Salcedo Show here on Newsmax TV. Yesterday, Joe Biden came out and gave an explanation for the massive crime wave breaking out in left-wing cities, well, all over this country. It was all BS, of course. We conservatives, most Republicans, and the majority of independents know that. But tonight, I want to talk to you about, well, the socialists. I want to talk to you socialists and you Democrats and you left-wing independents out there. The stranger. We introduced the left wing to their illustrious politicians in tonight's preamble. Those of you who are fans of Billy Joel know the song, The Stranger. And before you fire off emails telling me that Mr. Joel is a raging left-winger, yes, I know. Many of our childhood singers from the 80s, they've lost their minds in the modern era. Have you heard Springsteen talk lately? I can't tell if I'm listening to the Boss or the Bolshevik. Anyway, back to Billy Joel's song, The Stranger. In the song, Joel sings about, well, we all wear masks to one degree or another, right? He also outlines a scenario where one day a man comes home to his wife and doesn't recognize her. It seemed they were both wearing their figurative masks, not letting the other one know who they truly were when they got married. Now, that can ruin any relationship or marriage if people are not honest about who they are. So, too, is it with Democrats. The Socialist Party has perfected lying to their own voters about who they really are. Let's drill down on one issue, the crime wave that is hitting the United States. Despite what Joe Biden says, out-of-control crime afflicts Democrat-run or left-leaning cities. Data shows that the top 20 most dangerous cities are run by 18 Democrat mayors and 2 mayors who were elected in nonpartisan races. But do left-wingers look in the mirror and blame their policies? Nope. Here's one socialist extremist going onto the network where all left-wing extremists go, MSNBS. Listen to who this nutbag blames.
So this rising crime is not the fault of the movement. It's actually the fault of the police, and this has been our point all along. Why should we keep funding systems and institutions that keep rendering themselves ineffective? We should be talking about gun control, livable wages, fair housing, education. That's where we should be moving the money to ensure truly safe streets.
So this loony leftist blames police for the out-of-control crime in Democrat-run cities. You know, that means so much coming from the Defund the Cops party. Let's hear who the leftist with the most fun-sounding name in America blames for the out-of-control crime rate.
Killings are up 50% from before COVID. Where is this coming from?
Well, I think there are a couple of things that you have to compare. Remember, in Georgia, we were open up before the rest of the country, even before the CDC said that it was safe for us to open. So our nightclubs and our bars remain open. We had people traveling here from across the country to party in our city.
Atlanta's Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms claims that Georgians getting back their freedom from the China virus lockdowns was responsible for the crime spike in her city. Now, is that true? No. Other states opened up and didn't have resulting crime waves. In Atlanta and the other streets in liberal America, crime is at levels we've not seen in 30 years. Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms just announced she will not run for a second term. The New York Times hinted that Atlanta's soaring crime rate made her vulnerable. Richard Fawcett wrote, quote, "The mayor's inability to get a handle on crime has become the central theme for 2 challengers," end quote. Like all liberals, Lance Bottoms is incapable of enforcing the rule of law because her politics demands lawlessness. That's why socialist Democrats are incompatible with the United States, a nation of laws. It's one of the major components that has made America great. But now that greatness is being threatened by the incompetent boob who naps in the Oval Office. Fox News' Peter Doocy asking Biden's spokesmouth how Biden can blame non-gun-related crime on guns. Watch.
Why does the president think there's been a 30% increase in car thefts in D.C., 47% increase in robbery in New York City, or a 98% increase in rapes in Atlanta?
Well, first, I think if you look at a number of cities across the country, it is actually driven by gun violence.
Right. Non-gun related crime is because of guns. Only socialist Democrat voters believe that guns are responsible for non-gun related crime. But Joe Biden got up and yammered in front of the country anyway, claiming that your Second Amendment was responsible for the crime wave gripping Democrat socialist cities.
And today, enough rogue gun dealers feel like they can get away with selling guns to people who aren't legally allowed to own them. And I might add, the Second Amendment from the day it was passed limited the type of people who could own a gun and what type of weapon you could own. You couldn't buy a cannon. Those who say the blood of patriots, you know, and all the stuff about how we're going to have to move against the government. Well, the tree of liberty is not water with the blood of patriots. What's happened is that there never been, if you want to think you need to have weapons to take on the government, you need F-15s and maybe some nuclear weapons. The point is that there's always been the ability to rationally limit the type of weapon that can be owned and who can own it.
Dear God, first, the quote that this bumbling idiot was looking for is from our third president, Thomas Jefferson, who said, quote, "The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants." It was his wisdom and warning about the very people our country suffers under today, the Socialist Democrat Party. In the broader context, this phrase was from a letter that Jefferson wrote to a man named William Stevens Smith in 1787, 13 years before Jefferson would be elected president. Jefferson was a Democratic Republican who thought the national government should have a limited role in U.S. citizens' lives. Jefferson was right. Jefferson was making his comments in relation to Shays' Rebellion in Massachusetts. After word reached Great Britain, the British began spreading lies, or what Jefferson called lies, about America being in chaos. Jefferson was pointing out how remarkably stable America was. Quote, "What country before ever existed a century and a half without a rebellion? And what country can preserve its liberties if their rulers are not warned from time to time that their people preserve the spirit of resistance? The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. It is its natural manure." In his speech, Biden was trying to claim that his government was doing what the U.S. government has always done, targeting criminals by punishing the law-abiding. The only problem is, Joe Biden is a liar, just like the Brits back in 1787. It's not normal behavior for the government to ignore the rule of law on illegal immigration. It's not normal for the government to allow criminals to steal without prosecution, as left-wing DAs are doing all over this country. It is not normal that Democrats allow looting, beating, burning, and killing at the hands of terrorist groups like Antifa and Black Lives Matter, but then hold the January 6th rioters in custody on charges of trespassing and no charges of sedition or insurrection. In my mind, it was telling that Biden clumsily tried to convince you that his lawless administration was normal. As the polls show, these left-wing extremists are far from normal. Judging by their unlawful actions, we can barely call them American. Many Democrat voters, in particular in big cities and communities all along the border, are turning away from the Socialist Party that inspired crime waves and calls for defunding the police. To all of you disenchanted Democrats, I say, I'm so glad I can introduce you to the stranger you thought you knew, the Socialist Democrat Party. You know, it's too bad you didn't see past their mask before they got the power to do so much damage to our country.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.